Turning 70 is not a full stop, it's a comma. Opening a brand new chapter, one that is deeper, freer, and more courageous. For decades, we women have carried many roles, as mothers, wives, friends, and the quiet caretakers of our families. But now, with the children grown and responsibilities fading into the background, this is the time to return to yourself, to rediscover who you truly are and the desires you never had the chance to pursue. 70 is not the beginning of decline. It's the invitation to slow down, but live more deeply. At this age, your life experience becomes your strength, and your calm becomes your beauty. Thanks to advances in medicine, nutrition, and modern technology, you can enjoy life with better quality than ever before. See each day as an opportunity, not to do more, but to live more meaningfully. Because at this age, you no longer live to please others. You live to be true to yourself, fully, bravely, and with pride. 1. Beauty is no longer about staying young. For decades, society, especially the beauty industry and media, has linked beauty with youth. From wrinkle cream ads to facelift procedures, women have constantly been told that their value lies in smooth skin, a slim waist, or hair without a single strand of gray. But at 70, perhaps it's time to ask ourselves, should true beauty be limited by a number on paper or a reflection in the mirror? The truth is, beauty doesn't vanish with age, it simply changes form. At this stage of life, beauty is the sparkle in your eyes when you see your grandchild. It's the joyful laugh you let out even after hearing an old story for the 100th time. It's the calm confidence of no longer needing to chase any standard. Wrinkles are no longer flaws, they're the map of a life well lived. Each smile, each tear, every hard-earned lesson etched into your skin. This is beauty with depth, something youth can't possess. And most importantly, it's a beauty you deserve to wear with pride and honor. 2. Decluttering your space, freeing your mind. From both medical and psychological perspectives on aging, women entering their later years can maintain their full beauty, not just in terms of skin or appearance, but also in mental wellness, a positive outlook, and meaningful social connections. This is beauty with soul, a kind of beauty only time can create. And most of all, it's a beauty you have every right to be proud of. At 70, tidiness becomes more than just a physical need, it becomes a form of emotional healing. Multiple studies in geriatric psychology have demonstrated that one's living environment has a profound impact on mental health and quality of life in later years. A cluttered, crowded space doesn't just make daily routines more difficult, it can silently cause stress and anxiety. We often hold on to things, thinking, I might need this someday, or simply because they're tied to memories. But when every drawer is stuffed with unused items and the closet is packed with clothes you no longer wear, it's not just wasted space, it's space stolen from present-day joy. Simplifying your living space doesn't mean throwing away the past. It means honoring the present and preparing for a lighter, more peaceful future. Start small. One drawer, one corner of a room. Ask yourself, does this item still serve me? Does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, let it go with gratitude. For older adults, especially as mobility naturally decreases, a clear and simple home reduces the risk of falling, saves time and effort in cleaning, and most importantly, creates peace of mind. A tidy home is the first step toward a calm spirit. And at this age, inner peace is the most precious gift you can give yourself. 3. Letting go of unnecessary arguments. One of the greatest gifts of turning 70 is the ability to recognize what truly deserves your time and emotional energy. When we're younger, we often get pulled into arguments because we want to defend our opinions, keep the peace, or simply avoid being seen as indifferent. But at a certain point in life, you come to realize, not every battle is worth fighting. From the perspective of behavioral psychology in older adults, frequent involvement in conflict, whether within the family or in broader social circles, can increase stress levels, affect blood pressure, disturb sleep, and even impact heart health. More importantly, arguments that don't directly involve you, such as disputes among your children over how to plan the holidays, can easily turn you into a middle person, caught in the emotional crossfire. Letting go doesn't mean you're indifferent or avoiding responsibility. It's a conscious choice, rooted in the understanding that your mental well-being and inner peace are more important than winning a debate or playing the peacemaker. You've lived through enough to know that peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from knowing what's worth holding onto, and what's better released. So let others handle their issues. Save your precious energy for what brings you calm. At this age, you have nothing left to prove, except to live honestly with the serenity you've earned through the years. 4. Prioritizing yourself instead of pleasing everyone. For many years, especially in your roles as a mother, grandmother, or wife, you were expected to be the one who kept the fire going, held everyone together, and made sure everyone was happy. But by 70, when your calendar is packed with family gatherings, grandkids' birthdays, local festivals, or community group meetings, it might be time to ask, whose joy are you living for? Studies in gerontology and behavioral health show that overcommitting to social engagements can lead to chronic stress, burnout, and even mild depression in older adults. In other words, always being there doesn't always mean being well. It can be a quiet sacrifice of your time. At this stage, rearranging your schedule isn't selfish, it's smart and self-respecting. Try seeing it differently. Saying no isn't neglect, it's a promise to yourself. When you say no to a gathering you don't truly need to attend, you're saying yes to a peaceful morning, a warm cup of tea, your favorite book, or simply a breath of stillness for your soul. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Now it's time to care for yourself, not out of selfishness, but because you deserve a life not driven by obligation, but guided by choice and gratitude. 5. Letting go of perfection. From a young age, we were taught that perfection was the highest goal. The home had to be spotless in every corner, the party flawlessly planned down to the appetizers, and our appearance always neat. But the truth is, after 70, chasing the idea of perfection is not only unrealistic, it drains your precious energy, both physically and emotionally. According to geriatric specialists, the need to control every detail, especially during family gatherings or social events, can create unnecessary stress for older adults. Not only because the body isn't as agile as it once was, but because deep down, you've lived long enough to know, true joy isn't found in perfection, but in genuine presence. You can spend an entire afternoon dusting every shelf before guests arrive, or you could use that time to talk with your granddaughter about her college plans. You can stress over a cake that sank slightly in the middle, or you can laugh with your family about it and cherish the memory for years to come. The beauty of aging doesn't lie in being flawlessly perfect, but in not needing perfection to feel joy. When you release the pressure to get everything just right, you open the door to authentic, intimate, and meaningful moments, and that is a kind of fulfillment no perfect party can ever give you. 6. Taking your health seriously. At 70, taking care of your health is no longer an option, it's a life-saving commitment. Health doesn't come from grand gestures, but from small habits practiced daily. It's easy to blame aging whenever your knees ache or your shoulders feel stiff. But according to geriatric experts, most common age-related issues, from arthritis and diabetes to insomnia and fatigue, can be managed or even delayed with early, proactive care. Many older adults in the U.S. are still hesitant to schedule regular checkups, choosing instead to tough it out. But think of it this way: checking your blood pressure every 6 months, doing routine blood work, or getting an annual eye exam. These are small investments with major returns. Early detection prevents serious complications and can save significant medical costs down the line. Equally important is nutrition. Packaged convenience meals may save time, but they often contain excessive sodium, sugar, and preservatives, silent threats to your heart and memory. Instead, opt for simple, fresh meals, leafy greens, salmon, walnuts, oats, foods that nourish both heart and brain. And don't forget movement. Even a 10-minute walk around the house each morning, or a few gentle stretches on the couch, makes a difference. Caring for your health doesn't have to be complicated, it just needs to be consistent. Because at this age, nothing is more valuable than the feeling of control over your own body. to move freely. Live each day with full energy. And rest each night with peace of mind. 7. Letting go of toxic relationships. One of the hardest parts of growing older isn't changing your lifestyle. It's learning to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. Especially those that are toxic, but have lingered for years out of habit, old ties, or guilt. According to geriatric psychologists, continuing to engage in relationships that bring negative emotions can seriously affect the mental health of older adults, increasing the risk of anxiety, depression, and chronic loneliness. You may have had a friend for decades, but if every time you see them, you leave feeling drained, judged, or not good enough, that's no longer a healthy relationship. And this doesn't only apply to friendships. Interactions with family, neighbors, or community groups should also be viewed through this lens. Do they make me feel respected and uplifted? At 70, time and energy are two of your most valuable resources, and you shouldn't waste them. Cutting ties with someone isn't an act of hatred, it's an act of self-love. It opens space for nourishing connections, people who inspire you, share joy with you, and make you feel valued. Remember, being selective about who you spend time with isn't selfish, it's a form of emotional health care. And you deserve a circle of relationships where you can be your true self. Free from judgment, pressure, or negativity, only warmth and peace. 8. Embracing new passions and challenges. There's a common misconception that after 70, life should shrink, less movement, fewer changes, fewer new experiences. But modern neuroscience tells a different story. Our brains are still capable of growth through learning and new experiences. No matter our age, this phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, proves that the brain continues forming new connections when we engage in unfamiliar activities. And that's exactly what helps slow cognitive decline, improve memory, and boost happiness. You don't need to become an artist or an athlete to try something new. Sometimes, all it takes is a painting class at the community center, a few gentle yoga sessions in the park, or trying to grow organic herbs in your backyard, just enough to reignite your zest for life. That feeling of starting from scratch, even if a bit clumsy, can be the spark that makes you feel alive. Not just existing. Many people after 70 discover hidden talents, writing memoirs, learning an instrument, experimenting in the kitchen, or even picking up a new language. These activities don't just stimulate the mind, they also expand your social circle. A key factor in combating loneliness in older adults. So if there's something you've always wanted to try but kept thinking, it's probably not for me, now is the time. No one is ever too old to learn, to play, or to rediscover themselves. Let your 70s be the beginning of curiosity and inspiration, not the end of them. 9. Don't be afraid of technology. In today's digital age, technology is no longer a novelty, it's a natural part of daily life. Yet many older adults still keep a certain distance from devices like smartphones, tablets, or smart TVs, often because they feel too far behind, or believe it's too late to learn. But the truth is, learning to use technology at age 70 and beyond is not only possible, it offers clear benefits for mental well-being and quality of life. According to research from the U.S. National Institute on Aging, NIA, older adults who use technology, such as video calling, joining online classes, or even watching YouTube, tend to have stronger social connections, feel less isolated, and have a lower risk of depression. In this case, technology isn't a barrier, it's a bridge. It helps maintain engagement with family, community, and the wider world. You don't need to become an expert. Just start with something simple. Send a photo message to your grandchild. Video call your daughter in another state. Search for a new recipe online. Or learn how to schedule a doctor's appointment through an app. These actions don't just build confidence, they also foster independence. A vital key to preserving self-respect and self-esteem in older age. Remember, no one is ever too old to learn how to connect. Every time you master a new swipe or tap on a touchscreen, you prove that curiosity doesn't fade with age. And who knows, you might even become the one teaching your friends how to use their devices. With joy and enthusiasm to spare. 10. Stop worrying about what others think. When we were young, many of us were raised in environments that constantly encouraged us to be proper. To dress a certain way to avoid judgment, behave a certain way to please others, or live by someone else's standards just to avoid criticism. But at 70, after all the ups and downs you've lived through, it's time to ask yourself, who am I living for? Geriatric psychology shows that one of the key factors that helps older adults feel happier and freer is the ability to let go of outdated social expectations. When you stop worrying about whispers behind your back or the judgment in someone else's glance, you feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with your true values. Choosing to wear your favorite floral dress, even if it's too bold. Voicing your opinion, even if no one agrees. These are acts of freedom and power. Inner freedom, being confidently yourself, is something age gives you, not something it takes away. When you prioritize comfort, joy, and peace over trying to please everyone, you permit yourself to live honestly. And that's the greatest gift your 70s can offer. Not perfection to earn approval, but self-acceptance that defines your version of perfection. Remember, you don't owe the world any particular image of who you should be. Only the truth of who you are. Lived fully and proudly each day. 11. Taking financial control. At age 70, one of the wisest decisions you can make isn't about how much more you can save. It's about clearly understanding what you have and how you want to live with it. In a society where money is still considered a sensitive topic, many older adults avoid facing their financial picture, hoping that things will just work out. But as retirement financial advisors often emphasize, avoidance doesn't make the problem disappear, it only robs you of control. Taking financial control, no matter how much or how little you have, is an act of self-care. Both for yourself and your family. Whether it's managing your monthly expenses, preparing for unexpected medical costs, or deciding whether to support your children or grandchildren, making those decisions brings peace of mind instead of vague worry. You don't need to be a financial expert to manage your money. One conversation with an independent advisor, or even sitting down to create a simple budget at home, can make a world of difference. Many older Americans have found real relief in realizing that they don't have to pinch every penny, nor give everything away under the belief that they won't need it. Finances in your 70s are no longer just about accumulating wealth, they're about how you use it. Use your money to bring value, safety, comfort, and daily joy. Most of all, use it with intention, so you can fully enjoy your later years with gratitude, not anxiety. 12. Embracing aging as a new journey. Society often views aging through a lens of loss of health, beauty, or one's role in the family or community. But from the perspective of someone who's lived through decades of experience, aging isn't an end, it's a transformation. A new chapter. Deeper and more grounded, where there's nothing left to chase, only a return to your truest self. Modern geriatric medicine is slowly changing how we understand aging. Experts affirm that aging is a natural biological process, not a disease, and not something that needs to be fixed. Rather than resisting time, the key is learning to live in harmony with it, by listening to your body, nurturing your spirit, and adjusting your lifestyle to match your changing needs. Every wrinkle on your face, every silver strand of hair, is not a sign of decline, it's proof of a life deeply lived, moments of joy, silent pain, and lessons you could never learn from books. At this age, you no longer need to become someone, you just need to live as who you truly are. Let this stage of life be the most vibrant chapter yet, free from regret or fear, full of courage, serenity, and gratitude. Because if youth is a race, then aging is the time to slow down, to see more, feel more, and live more deeply than ever before. Thank you for taking the time to walk this journey with me, exploring what it means to embrace life after 70 as a new beginning, not an ending. If these words have touched your heart, don't hesitate to share this message, to spread inspiration and joy to those you care about. And if you'd like to keep receiving helpful tips and gentle encouragement, subscribe to my newsletter today, so we can stay connected, continue growing, and keep thriving at every age.